order of operations. So there is a set of rules that we must follow. And order of operations is one of them. And you may have heard of it as PEMDAS. You may also heard of it as please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, which I would say please excuse my dear Aunt Stephanie, right? All right. So P stands for the parentheses. It could be brackets, right? It's something inside that we have, like a box, like a present, like a balloon. It's inside. We have to clean that up first. E is going to be my power. It's going to be my degree. It's also called raised to. And then multiplication and division. These are like brothers and sisters or brothers or they're siblings, right? And in siblings, it's always first come, first serve. So if your grandma made a bunch of cookies and put it on the table and you were the last one in, you might not have got any of the cookies off the table, right? So that's the same with multiplication and division. It's read, equations are read left to right. So whichever one comes first is the operation you're going to do. So left to right, first come, first serve. Well, that is the same with adding and subtraction. Those are like siblings, and you're going to do the same thing with those. So right here, this first part here is just taking adding of decimals, subtracting of decimals. Whenever you do those two, you make sure and line the decimals up. Multiplication, you do not line those up. You just put the most digits on top and multiply across. Division, we cannot have a decimal in the denominator, so you're going to move it to the right however many places to undo the decimal. But whatever you do to make it a whole number in the denominator, you must move the decimal the same amount of places in the numerator. All right, so that's just a quick going over on those. Let's get to the order of operations. So let's do A. So we don't have a parentheses here, but we do have a power. And that says 3.1 squared. That's the same as saying 3.1 times 3.1. And then we got plus 7.05 divided by 1.5. So 3.1 squared, or you could say 3.1 times 3.1. That gives me 9.61 plus. Now we have this division over here. 7.05 divides 1.5. And we can't have a decimal in the denominator, so I'm going to move it to the right, however many places. In this case, it's just 1, so I must do the same thing to the denominator. So I have 70.5 divided by 15. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to put my numerator on the inside and my denominator on the outside. And we're going to say set 15 times what will get me close to 70. And it will be 4. 15 times 4 is 60. Be sure and bring this decimal to the top. 70 minus 60 is 10. Bring down the 5. All right. So next, I'm going to say, okay, 15 times what gets me close to 105. And in this case here, it's 15 times 7, and it is equal to 105. We're going to subtract, get a remainder of 0. So now I got 9.61 plus 4.7. And if we want to, we can line this up. Remember, in adding subtraction, line the decimals up. You can put a 0 in the missing place. 1 plus 0 is 1. And this is a 7. So that's a terrible writing. Let me clean that up right quick, so you can see what I wrote there. 6 plus 7 is 13. Carry the 1, bring the decimal down. 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 4 is 14, and that's my answer. Okay, so now let's do this D. Well, yeah, let's do D. So we have this parentheses right here, right? Inside the parentheses, I have a power. So let's go ahead and clean up the power. So 4.1 squared is going to be 16.81. Let's bring down this. Okay. All right, so now I have 28.96 minus the 16.81. So now in this parentheses, oh, and this is one reason why you don't want to write sloppy. So let me clean that up for you. All right. There we go. So inside the parentheses, we got 12.15 after we did the subtraction. Remember, line up the decimals whenever you add and subtract. All right. So now we cleaned up the parentheses and the power. Now we have division that comes before addition. So I'm going to say 12.15 divided by 2.5 gives me 4.86. And we're going to add on the 88.7 to that. And that gives me a total of 93.56.